Just waiting on a couple of the admins and things. Okay, so hey everybody, welcome back to Starseries Season 5. As always, I'm basically bringing you guys this game, and as always, this is just coverage off the ticket from me. This is going to be a game between Lion's Pride, who are going to be over on the dire side, and Freedom of the Action, or fota, who are going to be over on the Radiant, and that's pretty much it as far as introductions goes. For the interested, Lion's Pride are currently 1-1 in the overall group standings, and at this point in time, Freedom of the Action are 1-0. So we've still got tons of games for everybody to play in this round-robin format. Star Ladder is going to be going for ages from this point forward. So we've had some really quick drafting, as I've been saying all of that. So Wisp and Darkseer are going to be the bans out from fota, and Batrider and Nyx going to be banned out by Lion's Pride. So Keeper of Light makes it through. Notably as well, Magnus, he's going to be picked up here by Lion's Pride, and that pretty much covers it for those top 6 heroes. We have seen things being mixed up a little bit more recently, and again, it's been a week and a bit of crazy picks back and forth. We saw Fnatic last night pick up a Riki to combo with their Wisp, I believe, which worked out fantastically, but again, a little bit off the wall. So things are looking fairly standard right now. Lion's Pride and Freedom of the Action, at least as far as I'm concerned. I don't know about you guys. Two teams that I haven't really seen too much of. I mean, Lion's Pride did previously have, I believe, Inmate and Vigos, but they are no longer present in the team. So they're looking a little bit weaker now. Not really as many big names, but we'll have to see how this game works out for both sides. And Freedom of the Action, they've formed up what looks to be a what could potentially be a very offensive tri-lane. Keeper of the Light, Bane plus Jarkopt, a lot of damage there, though. Nice flexibility in the heroes as well, pretty good on the defensive try. And with the Bane being picked up along with the Keeper of Light, more than likely just going to be seeing the Gyrocopter taking either a mid or a carry farm role in this game. So Lion's Pride right now, they've picked up a Magnus as well as a Queen of Pain. So potentially looking to go offensive, and well, if they don't go offensive, they're going to be forced to run the Magnus on the off lane, which is not a situation that you necessarily want to find yourself in. He's okay, but lacks the recovery mechanic. To sort of bringing him back into the game aside from your other lanes doing fairly well, and then him going for some aggressive ganks and things like that, team fighting his way back into the game in effect. And Lion's Pride actually going to opt to round off their 1-2-3 in this first round with the Luna, so fota going to be quite happy to just ban out supports here. And with the way that this draft has worked out, I mean, fota could just look to ban out some nice defensive supports and then offensively tri-lane against Lion's Pride. It does come down to a question of whether or not they feel they can execute the lane and win it convincingly, but given that Magnus is going to be one of Lion's solos, they should be able to pick up at least another solo to try and deal quite well with him. So that would be ban the supports, win one lane with an offensive tri-lane if you do it right, pick up another good solo, beat the Magnus sort of by default if you're just comparing it without taking player interactions into account, just the hero matchup. And then, the remaining lane becomes Queen of Pain versus somebody, and that may or may not be a one lane, but Freedom of the Action looking pretty good right now, and they're going to choose to ban out a Silencer and a Ribic. Lion's Pride right now choose to ban out a Phantom Lancer. So something that we do frequently see with the Keeper of the Light, and again, Gyrocopter with that flexibility could have been mid if fota were looking to run that Phantom Lancer, so not a bad ban out there by Lions. And just targeting the offlaner there in the Clockwork, he's not really a solo by himself. So sort of what you can see from those two bans from Lions is that they're maybe not expecting an offensive tri-lane to be run here from fota, or even if they're anticipating it, they're trying to lock out the more defensive option from them. So last ban, not sure, we saw one carry, one offlaner. There are still a couple of offlaners left in the pool, though. I mean, Nature's Prophet perhaps. It could even be something like the Windrunner or just another carry removed. Though Luna, there's not necessarily too many carries that are direct counters to her, so we'll have to see. And it is just going to be the Windrunner in the end. So another offlaner banned out from Lions, and Windrunner as well, a nice solo by herself. Sort of when you compare her to the Clockwork, Clock sort of needs to be soloing mid if he's going to be soloing, or soloing the offlane against 3. But Windrunner, you can really put her in any situation and she'll do fine. Nice versatile hero. So not too surprised to see that ban out. And fota, how are they going to take this? They could still take their lineup again in any direction. They could push the gyrocopter towards mid, and then pick themselves up a hard carry and an offlaner. They could run an offensive tri-lane with some pairing out of the 3 heroes that we've already seen them draft, and then look for 2 strong solo laners. I wouldn't be too surprised to see something like the Puck if they're going to be running a mid, and then having gyrocopter as the carry, since Puck is a fairly good matchup against the Queen of Pain. It's perhaps a little bit easier for the Queen of Pain since she's typically the aggressor, and for Puck to find a kill, you either need to be doing significantly better in the lane and maybe finding a level advantage, or Queen of Pain needs to jump on you aggressively and she screws up, and you can punish with a silence, a dream coil, get a few tower hits in as well. So we'll see. Again, you do have to give the edge a little bit to the Quap, but Puck's going to be picked up here regardless by FOTA, and that probably means, well, Gyrocopter's either going to be offensively trialing, or he's going to be the carry on the safe lane. Now, Puck is more than likely just going to be that solo mid, though Gyrocopter could be the solo safe lane if they pick up a different hero for the offensive tri lane on top. And Enchantress actually going to be the pickup here for Lion's Pride, so some nice jungling for them, and a nice hero to have around, especially if you think that an offensive tri lane is going to be run against you. Could even look to evade the tri lane, take 2 plus Enchantress down towards the bottom lane, and then have a pushing race against Freedom of the Action until they bring their heroes back. So Lion's Pride, making the moves first, and then forcing FOTA to react from the word go. And what I'm talking about here is, if you can see that your opponents are going to be running an offensive tri lane, you can either set up a defensive tri lane and beat them head on, or the other option is to take your own tri lane, put it on their off lane, and then if both teams decide, well, I don't want to TP, I don't want to waste money and time going back to their lane, then you enter into a push race, and whoever has the superior push is going to be able to force people back first. But between the Luna and the Enchantress, it's not really a contest, and Lone Druid going to be picked up here for Freedom of the Action, so a potential off-lane solo, though, could also be a solo safe laner with them looking to run the defensive try. So plenty of options for them as far as the draft goes right now, and it's really just going to come down to trying to find those matchups that they're looking for. Lion's Pride just going to be looking to round things off with a hard support. A lot of common supports have already been banned out, so we'll see what they find out of the remainder of the pool, and it's just going to be a Venomancer. So a fairly good defensive tri-lane hero, and fairly good against the push that FOTA do sort of have going. We don't as much see the Plague Ward build anymore, but it is fairly good at stalling towers and buying time for Lion's Pride to find the farm that they need. And yeah, anyway, we're going to get into the game. Over on the side of Lion's Pride, it's going to be Stalk playing the Luna. We've got Zeko playing the Venomancer, Lolico on the Magnus, Android P going to be on the Enchantress, and that leaves Massacre to play the Queen of Pain. Over on the side of Fota, we're going to have Zara playing the Lone Druid. Stells is going to be on the Puck, Prepare for Battle. It's going to be on the Gyrocopter, Die on the Keeper of the Light, and Wapsa is on the Bane. And Stells is just throwing snowballs there for anybody who's wondering what the heck is going on. So, okay, so let's have a quick look at starting items. It might give us a bit of a clue as to how these lanes are going to be run. Okay, so there isn't a Stout Shield up on the Bear. This does suggest a little bit the Lone Druid might be solo down here. The Fota have brought a whole bunch of heroes. Seeing the Sentry Wards on the Keeper of the Light isn't necessarily a giveaway that, well, it doesn't necessarily say that they're going to be defensively tri-laning, since frequently with the Coddle what you want to do is remove the opposing team's lane ward, and that means that you can get illuminates from where they can't see you, and it's much more likely that they're going to connect. And also, sound is based on vision, so it means that if you can see the Keeper of the Light, you can hear it charging, but if he's in fog, then you won't. So, I mean, even if you're not looking at him directly, it's a bit of a nice cue to have vision on him so you can also hear him at the same time. So it is just going to be what looks like a solo safe lane Lone Druid, but at the moment we do have Android P and the Venomancer down here, so looks like Lion's Pride actually avoiding the tri-lane for a little bit, but choosing to leave Stalk up on the top lane. So trying to put some pressure on right now. The Bear is going to be able to scout out both the Venomancer and potentially the Enchantress. He could consider blocking out the hard camp to try and give himself an easier time, but looks like he's actually just going to opt to block out the pull. No, just zooming around with the bear there. And looks like this camp potentially, well, actually blocked out by this ward, and I think it might just be, it could have been one of these heroes just inside the spawn box, but it is a centaur regardless for Android P. We've got, well, Die now making a movement down towards the bottom lane, so it's going to be 3v2 on bot. Our mid matchup is a fairly standard one. It's going to be Quap against Puck. Still some kill potential there either way, so you're going to have to keep an eye on that one. And up on top, Stalk trying to solo against the Gyrocopter and the Bane, so he's going to be driven out of this lane fairly heavily. And Fota just looking to keep things as heavily pulled back as they can. The one problem for the Keeper of the Light is going to be trying to blast the heroes without blasting the creeps and pushing the wave all the way out to the tower where it's not even remotely going to be safe to farm, but going to be able to find some Alpha Wolves to start things off. And the nice thing about Alpha Wolves is that if they get lucky on the crits, then you don't necessarily have to pull through or double pull to wipe out a wave with them. Venomancer will be able to spot out the pull there, and Android P heads across to this little spot of high ground so that he can look down into the camp and grab himself another creep. So just a little bit of farm going on for him right now. Our mid matchup at the moment is fairly even, and looks like both players trading harass a little bit. I shouldn't have spectator chat on, so sorry about that one, guys. But yeah, that's it so far. Enchantress hasn't really gotten too much done just yet. Still down at level 2. Tim Earn has just spawned, so double damage awaiting there. And looks like Android P just asking his teammates what he should do with it. Massacre is just about to have his bottle delivered. It's being flown in courtesy of the courier, but yeah, Android just continues to camp out the rune, so losing a little bit of time as far as finding EXP goes. It looks like he's just going to be leaving it there for Massacre. Both teams do have vision of the rune, so Puck is well aware of what's going on right now and probably won't be able to make his way down to try and grab the rune, just because there's always the threat of the Venomancer and the Enchantress, and Lion's Pride actually going to be able to get a successful D-ward off on that ward. So there's no vision and there's no block on this hard camp right now. We've got the Spirit Bear moving its way around, and Android P now up to level 2. The Venomancer level 2 as well, but it's not really a huge pickup for him. And Massacre, well, sort of content with the position that the lane's in, gonna go down and get this double damage. It's gonna give him a lot of lane control, but he's missing out on a little bit of XP as he leaves, and Stella's denying pretty heavily to try and get the wave back up onto his high ground, which is gonna be a pretty big deal, especially with this double damage. If you can keep the mischance, if you can keep that 25% uphill mischance going, then Massacre's going to have a way tougher time, even with the double damage turn. And, oh, we've actually got Lions making a move towards mid right now. Stell's phase shift and 2 points up in the orb, ready to go, and the Venomancer going to reveal himself. The Venomous Gale will connect Stell's, throws out the orb, jaunts himself away, and that's going to be it. No, Massacre jumps through, he wants this kill, but now Silence underneath the tower. The Venomancer still tanking up, phase shift. Stell's still just trying to survive, but looks like Lion's just going to be right-clicking him down underneath the tower. Yeah, that's going to be about it. Oh, Enchantress tanks the tower perhaps for too long, does go down. So a little bit of a misplay there. 1-for-1 the exchange, though nobody around to soak up the EXP on mid. So still worthwhile for Lion's Pride, and regardless, even if someone was there for the experience, they would have gotten the first blood. So, however, Fota find a counter kill on the Luna up on top. So again, not really having a fun time up on this top lane, and doing a little bit worse than the lone Druid right now. So I mean, the pressure from this duo lane getting a little bit more done than the tri lane on bot, but they have been applying some pressure on mid, which, courtesy of that gank, should be a fair way ahead, and does seem to be the case. It's about half a level ahead for Massacre right now. And Mag actually up to level 5 down on bottom lane. He's basically been soloing. All of the EXP that Venomancer and Enchantress have gained has pretty much just been from the jungle. So, and what is Die doing? Just hanging out on mid for a little bit there. But looks like he's now making his way down towards bot, as we have a smoke coming out from Lions, making their way down that hole, making a movement down towards the bottom lane as well. And Lone Druid only level 4, so not anywhere near having that ultimate up, and going to be fairly susceptible to this gank. The Keeper of Light can't really do all that much, and there's almost level 6 up on Lolico. They reveal themselves. The Hellbear going to be tanking this up. The slow on Zara, the Venomous Gale connects as well, skewer through, drop slow. The Illuminate will connect in over the top, but that's a nice easy kill picked up by Lions. And we've got TP support now coming in. The Venomets are actually fairly low, and this is going to be Bane making a move through. Brain Sap finding that kill in the end. So Voda actually finding well, finding a trade in the end. Massacre makes his way down towards bot, but they're actually center wards around here, though nobody to give vision. He's only level 5, however. And Zara now down on the bottom lane, but no bear for a while. And the jump in. Massacre is looking for this one straight away, going on Die. And Nolico and Android P come in. Die's just going to throw out and Illuminate before he, well, very fitting to his name, does die. And EL Pride now find an equalizing kill on the map. Only about 250 EXP in it right now. And a 400 or so gold lead in favor of the Dire. So pretty much negligible as far as things go right now. The 6-man urn has spawned up on top. So Venomancer going to be able to grab that one, and wards will be fading in just a second, but he's got a fresh set ready to go. So able to keep up that rune vision. Prepare for battle has his phase boots up on top. Stock still a long way behind as far as farm goes, and that death not helping him out any, though there has been a lot more pressure applied on bot from Pride, and well he's pretty much dead even with the lone druid right now. So a lot of pressure on the middle lane right now. And Stells, with that Dream Coil up, should hopefully be finding a kill pretty much every single time it's off cooldown. It's just such a powerful ability, but we'll see how much he's going to be locked in Mortal Kombat against Massacre on this middle lane, at least for the moment. And even with Massacre making his way down towards bot, Stell's still a fair way behind as far as CS goes. So Massacre doing a good job on this middle lane and hasn't been punished for the aggression whatsoever. And again, it's a little bit easier for the Quap. It's a little bit more finagling for the puck to try and get things done. Nolico getting harassed by the bear down on bottom lane, and looks like Zara did finally get a resummon up, but needs to be careful with it. Not gonna have another bear for 2 minutes if he does lose that one. So Lions might just be looking to kill him off one more time and neuter the bear. He's almost up to level 6, so going to be a little bit more difficult to bring down. And expect him to put that point in his ultimate as soon as it's available. Lions now grouped up on top. They've got 40 seconds left with this Hellbear, making their way up and around. So the roaming ganking working quite well, and they find themselves a second Ursa right now. And yeah, just going to be clearing out the brown creep. I miss a kill down on bot. And did we have an entangle or something like that to set that one up? They've got a Nightmare and they've got Brain Sap, but that's about the extent of it. So suspect we might have had to have an entangle on the Magnus. Sorry about that one, guys. Again, I'm still a little bit disorganized, and there's still things that I'm trying to sort out while in the middle of this game. So sorry about that, missed kill. And Lions still just up on top. Not an inch of farm on either of these supports right now. Just continuing to put the pressure on other lanes. Massacre gonna have a quick pause as he heads himself back to base to try and refill his bottle. And Lone Druid now up to level 7, has the point up in the Druid form. Well, in the true form. And now significantly more difficult to kill. It's going to take a much bigger investment from Lions. And because of that, it'll be a lot more obvious. So Zara from this point forward should be able to find a couple of minutes of relatively death-free farm. Though not necessarily fantastic or uninterrupted farm. And prepare for battle. I mean, there's 2 targets on the map right now that have to be quite high priority for Lions, since they're really only running single carry with the Luna, while Fota are running a little bit of duo carry between the Gyrocopter and the Lone Druid. So Lions having to split their attention that way. We'll see if it impacts the game all that much. We've got an Invis up on the Bane. Fiend's Grip ready to go. He is now level 6. We've got a smoke out from Lions. And looks like they're going to be making their way perhaps down towards bot. Would love to have the pings and the map drawing from both sides, but you don't get that when you're in the ticket, so I guess that's something that should probably be suggested to Valve. Bane trying to scout out this smoke, perhaps using an Invis, but it's just going to walk straight into Android P. The Venomous Gale will connect along with the Troll Trap. Nicely microed there from Android P. But Waxbite in trouble, going to throw out the Fiend's Grip, and in comes more support. Massacre comes in, throws out the Sonic Wave, finds that kill. Android P will drop at the same time. The Dream Coil up on the Venomancer. He will drop, so it's 2 for 1 so far. We've got Lolico still looking for action, but Zara extremely tanky right now. Massacre jumps through, finds himself a killing spree, evens up the exchange. Zara now being worked down a little bit, finds an entangle up on Lolico. Stell's not done just yet. They're fairly low on mana. Lolico just barely dodging out of the way of the Illuminate there, but right click should be enough. Oh, the Shockwave kills off the Keeper of the Light, but will die in exchange. So overall, 3 for 3 down in the Rumble in the Radiant Jungle. And Stock well, stalk and prepare for battle, find themselves a little bit of farm at the same time. So it's Massacre and Stells getting away from that one. And am I miscounting the engagement? So we had Bane die and Keeper of the Light as well. I think I have miscounted. I think it was 3 dead for Lions and only 2 for Fota. So they're now up 1 kill. Stells makes his way up towards the 10-minute urn, so that's going to be haste for him. And Zara, we'll see what the item build is going to be for him. With the tough start that he got off to, and with all Gloves of Haste picked up right now, it could just be a Maelstrom though. We would sometimes expect to see perhaps Phase Boots and an Orb of Venom before going for the Maelstrom, if it was going to be that build. So it could still just be a Midas, and Fota may be looking to use the fact that they are running duo carry. And if this heads towards the late game, the Gyrocopter and the Lone Druid are going to have a bit of an advantage over the Luna, barring some big reverse polarities and things like that from the Magnus. But even then, it's going to be a problem as you head in towards the late game, because it's going to be more and more difficult for Magnus to try and, I mean, it should be nigh on impossible for him to lock down both the Lone Druid and the Gyrocopter in a single reverse polarity, and having to make that decision, if he can't get both, then the other one is going to be wreaking havoc in the fight. So we'll see how this all works out. And still not a single tower down just yet on the map. It's been nothing but action so far. Gyrocopter up to level 7 up on top. Not a whole lot of farm to speak of, though. It's a similar story for stock. None of the carries on the map right now are having a great time, especially with the Venomancer and the Enchantress roaming around. And I mean, it's a double-edged sword. They're finding kills on the opposing team's carries, but they're also finding kills in response on the supports, and because the supports are never in lane protecting the carry, they're having to play more defensively and not getting as much farm as a result. Though Stock has now managed to pull his way to the top of the CS board, so with Bane having left the lane up on top, able to pressure the Gyrocopter out, and looks like that just going to be TPing his way up towards top to try and hold on to this tier 1 tower. Android P Massacre and Stock going to work. We're going to have the Fortification popping up just to hold on to this one, and the Illuminate in over the top, though a bit ill-timed. We've got a fresh creep wave coming in. We've got the Fiend's Grip thrown out onto Stock. Nothing to cancel this right now, but the call down over the top. Sonic Wave pops the Bane immediately. We've got the Eclipse, but Stells jumps through, and 2 for 1 the exchange. Double kill picked up there, and the Homing Missile forcing Massacre away. Gonna bottle up and then switch to Strength Treads, hopefully before that one hits him. Yeah, so minimizing the damage, but overall a nice exchange for Fota up on the top lane, and now pushing out that lead to 2. We've got the Venomancer with an Invis rune up, making his way down towards bot, but Zara now with his ultimate and just playing as defensively as he is. Extremely difficult to gank, and even for 2 heroes should be fairly difficult. Venomancer moves into position. Lolico fairly healthy as far as mana goes. There is a creep wave making its way through at the same time, and Bane, unbeknownst to EL Pride, is making a movement down towards the bottom lane. So this could be absolutely terrible for Lions right now without any additional support. And looks like Bane just trying to put down some more wards, keep the Lone Druid safe at the moment, and just putting down the same one that we saw earlier, so this will block out the hard camp one more time. Though looks like Android P, with all of those deaths in a row, just says, I'm sick of this. Goes back to try and find a little bit more farm in the dire jungle. So yeah, it's pretty much it at the moment, but I mean, Lions, they are actually ahead a little bit as far as gold goes right now, and a little bit behind EXP, but again, I feel heading towards the late game, Enchantress is going to absolutely fall off a cliff. She hasn't really had a great start, and isn't really going to be all that tanky. Probably going to be a long way away from even something like a mech. The mech is being actually worked towards right now by Lolico, so Lion's Pride, all of the initiation hopes are sort of on top of the Queen of Pain, and Massacre actually making his way towards a BKB right now, so not doing too badly there. But Stells, on the other side of the map, almost has his Blink Dagger finished, and as I say that, manages to purchase it up, so it's looking a little bit more well-rounded for FOTA at the moment, and still yet to lose a tower, just because of the pesky Keeper of the Light. Well, they actually did lose, no, they didn't lose the tower up on top. Managed to defend the tier 1 tower on mid, will fall to the push from Lions. But despite that, Luna goes down on the top lane. Just Fiend's Grip from the Bane and the call down on top from the Gyrocopter. Sorry about this, guys, I'm feeling a bit stuffed up and just trying to just trying to do too many things at once, so missing that kill. Sorry about that one. But yeah, another nice pickup from Freedom of the Action, and even while they are being pressured, they're not over-committing in terms of heroes, and just leaving the Gyrocopter and the Lone Droid to farm. Massacre jumped in up towards the top lane, but without any backup, just going to back himself out. How many points are actually up in the Rocket Barrage for Prepare for Battle? It is actually maxed out, so that's extremely terrifying to dive against right now. Massacre continues to put the pressure on up on top, and we've got the rest of Lions making their way up right now. Massacre really shouldn't be bottling when he's on int tread since he's looking for mana, and yeah, going to switch himself over to Agi before taking that last sip. But yeah, fota make their way up towards the top lane, and that oh-so lethal Fiend's Grip almost off cooldown again for the Bane. And while Lions have invested 5, Zara is still just happily farming away down in the bottom lane. He's got his Maelstrom finished up right now. And while 5 pressure top, it's 1 pressuring bot. The tier 1 tower did fall, but now Lions are going to be TPing their way down towards the bottom lane. No fortification available. Massacre comes in, and the Bear just going to scare the Quap away. There is going to be a successful deny, however, from Massacre. So nicely played there, and makes the overall exchange a little bit less lopsided. But I mean, fota, you can see not over-committing, not over-investing as far as heroes go. And now that they've seen Massacre make his way down towards bot, they're actually going to try and turn things around on this top lane and try and go for a tier 1 tower of their own. Plague Ward's just being spammed down right now by the Venomancer, but they're only level 2, so not overly tanky. And Massacre realizing what's going on, going to be making his way back up towards top. And Zara playing quite carefully right now. Puts a little bit of pressure on the tier 2, but not going to be enough to force anyone back, though. Looks like Massacre just getting his BKB dropped off right now, and regardless, fota will be backing themselves out, so not a big deal in the end. It looks like both teams just going to go back more or less to farming positions. We've got a drum finished up on the Luna. The mech is online on the Magnus right now, and Android P has an Ogre Club picked up at the moment. Probably just going to be an Aghanim Scepter for him, I'd like to say. Though we would often see the point booster. Well, okay. Normally on a hero who gets an Ags, you'd see the point booster before you see the Ogre Club, because point booster, and if I can bring it up. So point booster is 200 health and 150 mana for 1.2k. Ogre Club is 190 health for 1k. So it's a little bit less health. You don't get any of the mana. And I guess that's why I'm a little bit hesitant to say that it's necessarily going to be an Ags, but the alternatives are maybe a Heaven's Halberd or a BKB as well. But regardless, the health definitely helps out on the Enchantress. But yeah, surprised to see that Android P didn't opt to go for the point booster before the Ogre Club if it was going to be the Ags. So Zara farming away down on bottom lane. He's got his phase boots finished up on the Bear, so still doing reasonably, and now leading as far as CS goes. Bane in a little bit of trouble down here, but will be able to Nightmare himself to buy a little bit of time. Gets the Brain Sap off as well. Fiends get ready to go, but going to be dying regardless. Lolico skewers himself through, prepare for battle, drawn into the fight, and the other reverse body only thrown on him. Stells now with the initiation in, throws down the Dream Coil, but the BKB from Massacre just standing at the front of that fight, and the Eclipse pop down as well. Zara now makes his way through, but it's a 2-for-1 exchange so far. Oh, Venomancer just barely alive there. Looks like he's going to be fine to slither his way out. But overall, not a terrible engagement for fota, and one that it really looked like they didn't want to take. I mean, Gyrocopter got brought in, but Zara TP'd in a little bit late, and while the Lone Droid isn't really doing too much as far as team fighting at this point, not having their full strength to bear was definitely a big problem, and Lion's actually going to be taking this opportunity just to put some more pressure on the middle lane. There is still a tier 1 down on bot for them to try and claim, though Roshan looking like a fairly tempting target right now, and Venomancer, noble support that he is, going to get one more stack up on these Ancients for Luna. So that's a nice recovery mechanism for her to try and get back into this game. Since we are now 19 minutes into the game, denies aren't really all that relevant. I'll switch you guys over to Network. I normally switch it a little bit earlier, but I've just lost track of it this evening, so sorry about that one, guys. And again, it's been a little bit hectic for me. Thought I had more time after getting home from work before starting casting, but fota now going for the counter aggression on the middle lane, and The Lone Druid doing what he does best, absolutely melting towers, not going to be a deny this time around. And fota, looks like they're not done just yet. Massacre, they're going to be fine, not going to have to pop that BKB to get away from the homing missile, though Bane's still just chasing through. And the pressure continues to be applied. Stalk has a TP ready, but now walking his way over to the middle lane, and the Bear receiving a lot of hate right now. Venomous Gale and everything else in EL's arsenal thrown at him. So we'll go down, and Zara with the resummon, but that's another 2 minutes before he has a fresh Bear, and that might be a little bit of a sign for them to back off and just try and find their farm. As far as overall farm and EXP goes, it's about a 1k EXP lead in favor of the Radiant right now. They're moving back towards EL Pride's side, and a similar story for the gold, though mirrored. Gold in favor of the Dire, about 2k, but moving back towards the Radiant right now. And Lions, like I said, just going to be making their way into the Roshan pit, and with the Lunar Blessing aura, making reasonably quick work of it. They don't really have anyone to tank, but just divvying the damage up, and then they can pop a mech to top themselves off. The Bear is going to come in for a little bit of scouting. The Dream Coil is ready to go, but Stell's just over here and has already used the blink, so that's going to buy a couple of seconds for Lions before fota to go for the initiation. The call down thrown in over the top. Zara right in the middle of the team fight. The Eclipse pops, Watchbar drops low, but that gets a nice brain set to try and buy some space. Attempts the Fiend's Grip, doesn't go off before he does die, and now the Poison Nova doing some huge damage in over the top. We're going to buy back from Nolico, trying to make his way back into the fight, and Venomancer again survives with just a tiny amount of life. We've still got Lions chasing, but it's a 1-for-1 exchange, but the Aegis goes the... Well, was it actually the Aegis? Who picked it up? So Luna picked up the Aegis, but went down regardless, so a little bit more even than it looks. A little bit more even than it looked, and it was even a buyback thrown by the Magnus, so actually a fantastic team fight for fota there, and just negating that Aegis advantage for Lions, buys them some more farming space, and keeps that map control going, when typically, had the Aegis still been up on Lions, they would have probably lost 1 or 2 towers just in the duration of that 6 minutes, being hesitant to take a fight. So doing a good job so far. We've almost got the BKB. Do we almost have the BKB up on the Luna? No, it's just the Mytho Hammer right now. So still a ways to go there, and definitely an enormously significant pickup for her. So we might just see Lions wait around for that before going for anything too aggressive from this point forward. And Luna actually, surprisingly, despite participating in these fights and getting off some good eclipses, 0 for 3 for 2 is the score right now. So not actually having a great time so far in this game. And again, the big problem for Lions at the moment is just initiating fights. They opted to switch the mech over to the Magnus after the Enchanters had a pretty bad start to the game. But that means there's no blink up on the Magnus, and while the Quap can go fairly aggressive with a BKB, it's really going to take a Hex or even or perhaps an Orchid to really be the initiator that Lions need to be taking these fights on the front foot. And fota feeling ahead right now. They've still got the Fiend's Grip up on the Bane. Going to be applying some pressure down on bot. Venomancer tries to find the retaliation push on top, but just not a split pushing hero by any measure of the... Well, by any stretch of the imagination. So fota, they man up on the tower, and looks like going to be uncontested from Lions. No fortification pops, but it's not really going to buy Venomancer enough time to do anything on top lane. But it was in deny range, so Stock able to get rid of it that way. And so fortification invested for deny, mitigating the gold lead on the side of fota. Though it is actually still in the hands of the Dire right now. The net worth advantage. But I mean, distribution of farm, as you can see, the 3 farmers for fota doing quite well, and the Magnus, while he does have his mech, doesn't scale as well with the mech as he necessarily does with having the blink, though I guess overall contribution to the team fight for Lions, it's fairly similar there, so not bad. Overall, Gyrocopter, what is he working his way towards? Just going to be another BKB up on the field quite soon, so all of the magical damage going to be falling by the wayside on these carries quite soon, and even just the Lone Druid, sort of unconcerned. I mean, it's a lot of incidental damage, and even the Sonic Wave and a couple of Eclipse bounces they sort of bounce off him regardless. And I mean, even just a Naked Cloak would be absolutely fine. Looks like he's actually making his way towards a Basher right now with the Javelin and the Belt of Strength, and fota going to be TPing 4 down towards the bottom lane, to hold on to this tier 1, while again the Lundra just solo pushes up on top, and nothing that Lions can really do to stop this. Attempted deny from the Venomancer, but if we see an entangle right now, he's going to be in trouble. Phase boots up in the bear in just a second, and that Venomous Gale wearing off. Though looks like Venom will be fine to find some space. The skewer in from Volko. Somehow Stell's caught on the end of that one, but gets a nice silence off, and Stock trying to eclipse, but gets Fiend Script as well. Prepared for battle. Will drop. 2 already dead. Zara drops at the same time, and it's a monster kill, double kill for Massacre. Chasing through. We've still got Stock fighting underneath the tower with Stells, and it's a 5-0 wipe going the way of Lions underneath the tier 1 tower on this bottom lane. So nicely taken team fight from them. And fota just absolutely nowhere to run, caught back in these trees. So it's going to be 5 kills and the tier 1 tower for Lions. And with that, swinging the kills back in their lead. And XP and gold should both follow shortly. I mean, gold has never been a question except for a couple of seconds in the early game. But the XP now swinging back heavily in Lions' favor. And at this stage of the game, it's still fairly significant level, pickups. All around. We've now got the second rank of the Impetus up on the Enchantress, and Stock getting quite close to that level 16 as well. And had the BKB up for that fight, so that was the full 10-second charge used there. So while he was held in place by the Fiend's Grip, it's nowhere near as lethal as it was earlier. So does go to show that fota fairly reliant on spells and magical damage to find space in these team fights, especially between the Keeper of the Light. Even the Gyrocopter and the Puck. And as soon as their BKB's up, EL Pride can really just face rush in. And Prepare for Battle really wants to have his BKB up before the next engagement. Since, again, as we've seen, they're just so valuable in a kind of matchup like this, where you've got a lot of magical damage on both sides. So, yeah, just back to farming a little bit right now. Stell's making his way towards a Hex. Massacre's been doing a really good job, and almost has, well, not almost, but getting quite close to his Hex as well. So we'll have that finished up within the next couple of minutes, and that's going to be really good initiation. Mag has his Blink, and this is looking stronger and stronger for Lions right now. As we move to, as we sort of move towards the late game, looks like Lone Druid and does have his Basher finished up, but now the farmer is on fota a little bit behind, both behind the Luna and the Quap by about 2k, so not insignificant by any means. And we've got a smoke coming out right now from Lions, but they've already used half the duration, still just moving down and around. Zara farming quite defensively, though looks like he might get pincered a little bit here. Massacre, Hasterin up, considers chasing forward, and Lions with the loop around gank on these Ancients. Not sure how they knew that he was here, but this is one dead Lone Druid. He wanted to finish off finish farming a little bit before he died, but that's going to be about it. And looks like he may have just come from top lane, and then not seeing him in the second ward on mid. Fairly obvious that he's going to be in this Radiant Ancient camp. So a nice pick off there from Lions, and looks like they're going to be able to translate this one into a tower as well. We've got Dai making a movement towards the top lane, but actually just stops off to slow down the push on mid. So tier 2 tower falls up on top, and Lions just looking fantastic for them right now. Stell's doing a little split pushing, so we'll be able to force at least one TP back at the moment, but Massacre going to be glad for the farm, and that's going to be almost his completed Hex right now. And Lions not done, just continuing to apply pressure. Lone Druid still waiting to respawn, so fota not at full strength. Blinding Light attempted there from Dai. Oh, but the Skewer and the Venomous Gale. Well, the Venomous Gale didn't connect, but the Skewer did. Shockwave throws out the mech to try and survive right now. Bane needs to pull it off, and looks like Dai might be able to escape. No, the super long range Impetus, sorry, just enough from Android P. I thought that might have been outranged, since there is a maximum range, maximum damage on the Impetus, but that was a snipe and a half from Enchantress. Bit of a headshot. And we've actually got the Aghanim Scepter now finished up on Android P. So every single hero, I mean, I touched on it early in the game, while Lions were, they looked a little bit behind, but now they've got all of these core items up, and even another 3.8k gold in the bank for the Luna. So the Manta style should be coming along fairly soon. Could see something a little bit alternative, though the standard call would just be to go for that Manta. But yeah, right now Lions looking fantastic, and by virtue of being on the dire side, they're going to have Roshan coming up in about 2 minutes, so that's going to be a fantastic pickup for them there. We do not have the BKB finished up for prepare for battle, so we'll be able to be a little bit more aggressive in these team fights. But the problem is going to be, well, it's actually a Lincoln Sphere picked up for Massacre right now. So, I mean, isn't going to have any troubles with the Fiend's grip, but well, while he's BKB'd at the very least. But I mean, if Photo well coordinated, they should just be able to use the fairly long-range homing missile to pop it. So I'm interested to see that Massacre opted to go for the Lincolns over going for a Hex in this instance, but I guess that's just me. I mean, they're fairly similar as far as cost goes, and I mean, as you can see, he's still got 1K gold up in the bank, so it wouldn't have been all that far away. And Stell's invis run up for him, just trying to finish off that Hex and dive very well, not actually defensive farming, just softening up these creeps a little bit for PFB. But yeah, Lions right now, they've got a big fat Ancient stack to clear out for stock, so he's going to have his next item up quite soon, and Roshan going to be responding in just a second as well. They've got a ton of map control. They've actually got observer wards up on all 3 lanes for Photo right now, so they've got complete knowledge as to where they are right now, and most of these are fairly common smoke spots as well. We do have a smoke ready to go on the Bane, but this should, well, I think this is more or less going to be spotted out by these Lions wards. It might just have seen the edge of the smoke animation in that vision. So Lions go into the pit, but they keep the Magnus out. No, Lolico actually just wandering his way around right now. Photo pressuring in on mid. They've got 3 smoked, and Stells and Zara just leading the charge right now. The Bear going to be heading in. Roshan not down below half just yet, but the Bear, ton of hate thrown its way. Zara does have a resummon in just a second, and Stells jumps in, but the 2 PKBs pop. We've got the Fiend's grip up on stock. The skewer through the reverse polarity connects on almost everyone. 3 immediately wiped out, and prepare for battle buys himself a few more seconds with the BKB, but that's going to be a 4-0 wipe in favor of Lions, and Stells cleaned up at the back end of that team fight as well. It's a 5-0 wipe. It's Roshan going the way of Lions, and that's going to be, that's pretty much, I believe, going to be it. We've got the Manta style finished up for the Luna. We've got the Aegis as well to try and wrap out this game. And a 10 kill lead translating into about 10k EXP and about 10k gold as well. So Lions in a fantastic position to just sort of charge through and try and finish this game. We might see a defensive team fight or 2 from Photo, but coming back is definitely going to be difficult from this point in time. And looks like it might just be 1 Rax immediately for Lions, though Photo will be respawning quite soon, and the Keeper of the Light can slow things down at least a little bit. Stock drops low, but the skewer for Volko, the Force Staff bounces the Keeper of the Light back, and Stock just barely surviving there. From the mech, we've got the Nightmare up on Wapsa, but just jumped forward aggressively on by Massacre right now. And speaking of Massacres, this is one right now. Lions maybe overcommitting a little bit. Stock does still have the Aegis up and Android P with the Ghost Scepter, unconcerned about towers, but hopefully going to be able to pick themselves up a Rax right now. I mean, the supports are still dead at the moment for Photo, but all of their big farmed heroes are back online. We've got the Dream Call ready to go for the puck, and Android P just zoning everyone out using the impetus, but it is going to be a Rax regardless for Lions, though should only be the one. Prepare for battle, trying to find some stragglers right now. Going to pop off the BKB, but Stock still has the Aegis in hand, so more than happy to take that fight. And just, well, the homing missile is going to fly in, but it's more than likely just level 1. Yeah, just a level 1 homing missile, so it's not a concern whatsoever for the Luna. And Lions now up a Rax, going to back themselves off, heal, and they'll have about 4 minutes left to try and push with this Aegis and claim another Rax. So it's going to be really difficult for Photo to try and fight into this end. The other big problem is that they don't really have any big teamfight ultimates to match the strength of the reverse polarity, so waiting and trying to find an ideal timing doesn't really work out for them. Their strength doesn't waver all that much, is sort of what I'm trying to say at the moment. Looks like I've had a little bit of frame drop in amongst the last couple of minutes, so sorry about that one, guys. There's not a whole lot that I can do about it. I'll try and check my settings and things in between games. But yeah, that's about it right now. Lone Druid about 2k gold in the bank, but we haven't seen items progress for him in a very long time, and yeah, it's not looking phenomenal. The Venomancer comes out extremely aggressively right now, and Gem reveals the Observer Ward, the Bear chasing through, but the Master not quite in range just yet. The Czar actually in his ranged form right now, wants to get the Bear in range, and we've got an immediate bash on the Venomancer, so it looks like he might pay for this. Yeah, Maybe. He's got the poison overthrown out as well. Lolico comes in, pops off the mech, but not quite enough. And Zara gonna try and TP himself out. Well, double reverse polarity. Lolico should just be able to find a double kill by himself right now. What? Yeah, what a chase from Fota there. And now with 2 down, Lions, I mean, slowed down a little bit by the Illuminates, but they've still got the Aegis in hand, and now Stalk just making his way up towards top. He's got the Eagle Song finished as well, so going to be a butterfly in short order. And I mean, Fota Dai's attention now needed to be split a little bit more because mid lane is pushing in at the same time, so he walks himself across. But Lions pretty much topped off, primed, and ready to go. And it's just the Venomancer that they don't have. He's already used Poison Nova, so it doesn't really matter too much, though. Looks like Lions just still playing the safe game, going to opt to back themselves out. And with the position that they're in, they're finding superior farm. I mean, as you can see, it's over a 20k EXP lead, and it's over a 15k gold lead as well, making its way towards 20k. So while they only have the single carry, they're able to make a lot better use of the map right now. I mean, Fota have set up a nice defensive line, but just in terms of overall farm available to them, I mean, if you think of everything that's available within this line, on this side of the map versus this side of the map, it's pretty much the entire Radiant jungle bar 2 camps, along with everything else for EL Pride and for Fota, just whatever's turning up in their lanes, and perhaps their Ancients if they're feeling a little bit brave. So, yeah, it's not looking fantastic for them right now. Massacre now with a Daedalus finished up. Venomancer not a whole lot to talk about. We've got a Refresher Orb being worked towards by the Magnus right now, and he's going to have that fairly soon. Stalk, having finished up his Butterfly, is going to let Magnus have a little bit of farm of his own. And how much longer left with this Aegis? About a minute and a bit for Lion. So they might still just try and make use of this one, get a little bit of damage down on a tower, perhaps. But that might be about the extent of it. Zara put some pressure up on top lane, and now working his way towards an AC. So a nice pickup, but still a long way away. He's just got the plate mail up at the moment. And as you can see, net worth getting a long way ahead for Lion's Pride right now. So Fota ready to go for the defense. Zara, no TP, so he's relying 100% on the Keeper of the Light to bring him in. Dai needs to be really defensive with his positioning. If he gets bursted down, then there's not going to be a bear, and that's going to be the end of it. Massacre jumps in, he's looking for Dai, pops off the mech, and the Eclipse pops in over the top as well. Massacre already 1 kill. Fota split up to the nth degree. Stells is going to drop, Android P going to work, and Lions able to drive Fota back to the fountain. Zara finds a tier 2 on top, but that's going to be about it. And that looks like it's going to be it as far as the game goes as well. Lions find themselves a second Rax, and with 2 dead right now on Fota with no buybacks available, Stell's just going to be calling the GG there. So that's going to be it for this best of 1 from Starlighter. I believe that leaves Lions Pride at 2-1, while Fota find themselves at 1-1 as far as the group standings go. So Fota not necessarily behind, but a nice showing from Lions. And a nicely won game. A lot of nice team fights in there as well. So thanks everyone for tuning in. This has been day 6 of Star Series Season 5. I've been Baseskip, your commentator for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys have any feedback for me as far as my casting goes, leave me a message in chat or send me an email at baseskipdota@gmail.com. I love to hear from you guys. This was an okay cast, at least in my mind, but I hope it was enjoyable for you all the same. So thanks everyone for tuning in. I hope to see you for the next game, which we have coming up quite soon. I'll inform you guys as to what that is as soon as we jump out of here. But yeah, I hope to see you in future broadcasts.